Well, my kid stopped by this morning and we did a tune-up, or finished the tune-up. Adjusted the valves and stuff, adjusted his brakes because he had that parking brake problem, so we adjusted his brakes all around. His parking brake's good now. And while we were doing the brakes, I noticed here we got a screw. This was the front tire. Let me get it turned around here. And of course I had to play with it a little bit just to see. And I think you can probably hear that. Maybe. I wiggled it a little bit and I started hearing some air. So anyway, these tires were purchased at a chain. They have good warranty, free flat repair, blah blah blah. It's Sunday, they're not open today, and he's got to go home 100 miles. And so anyway, he had some other family obligations. His mom and some folks, they were going to go do some stuff. Anyway, so I get to fix a flat here, and I guess I'll just do this. I did a video on stripping the Jackmans, getting the Jackman tires, or the wheels stripped of those big old tires. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do a flat repair here on the floor. I went over to the parts store and bought some, it's green. Anyway, tire patch for radial tires. So anyway, so I'll pop this tire off and scuff it up inside there, put a patch on it, and it'll be good to go. Well, I guess the first step on doing this thing here would be to go ahead and mark this thing where it belongs. I don't want a bunch of marks on the outside, so on the inside here, I'm going to go ahead and put a crayon mark here and right here, so I know where to put this back. That way this thing didn't bounce, so it's fairly reasonably balanced. And although there are no weights on it, it doesn't bounce going down the freeway, and it's not wearing funny, so it's balanced. I don't know if it ever had weights on it. I don't think it did. Anyway, so I know where to put this thing back, so we're in the same relative spot. And then I'll find the screw again here. Okay, and on the inside I'm going to put a mark on the tire there as well, so I know where to look for the screw hole when I'm looking inside the tire after I take the screw out, so I don't lose track of where this little hole is going to be. And then I'll pop that screw out of there. I think I'm going to leave the screw in until I get the tire off. Be easier to find then. And then first thing I guess I got to do then is to get the core out of this guy, let the air out of it so I can break the bead, and then break the bead, get it off the rim, and fix that that hole. You got to patch them from the inside. Anyway, I'm using this little core puller here, which basically is a stem cap, but it's got a core puller in it. Go ahead and open that thing up. One trick to these is you don't let them just free fly, because you'll lose the thing and then you're screwed. You have to find another core to put back in. I'll go ahead and get this off of here. As I was out of water in the soap container, I just filled it up about halfway. Throw a little water around. That'll wash that soap down in there. And I might be successful at this. If not, there are other methods. That felt pretty good. Just work my way around a little bit at a time. not much of a video, but it's what I'm doing today, at least right now. Another trick is to stand on the opposite edge while you do this so you don't flip the wheel up and catch yourself in the calf. That don't feel good. Getting close here, I think. There she went. So I got the bead broken there on the inside. Now I gotta break the bead on the other side, flip it over, and we'll do some more. Yeah, we were thinking about this car, that engine that he's running around. Oh, he rebuilt it. I rebuilt one engine on a table. He rebuilt his engine. And on another table, new crank, bearings, blah blah blah. He did it all himself. Torque, you know, looked up torque specs and did the whole thing, and finished it when he was just 17, barely. And anyway, that's 7 years ago. Yeah, we fired it up on the stand. He was just barely 17 and it started right up, and I remember the look on his face was priceless. One of those, I don't know, father-son moments that I'll never forget, and I kind of don't think he will either. Actually, it's pretty much centered, so I'll go ahead and take it off the back front side. And the trick is to get the front and the back of the tire squeezed down into this hump, and then you can pull it up and off the other side. So I'll give it a shot here. Get my worn out big screwdrivers, big flat screwdrivers. Or I guess it's a split up piece of 2x6, I don't know what it is anyway. Go ahead and put, let's see, where's that stem at? I guess it don't matter. Put these guys under one side. When I kneel on it, that should facilitate, if I keep the rim off of those boards, getting the bead up into that spot there. Yeah, there it is. Up into the groove on both sides. Then you can work the rim down and should be able to get under here and get this guy up and over. And if I'm careful and don't tear the bead up, get that guy working up and around. A little bit at a time. There we go. Anyway, maybe I'll do a, depending on how long this takes, a real-time video on fixing a flat. Alright. And another thing, on fixing a flat, I may not have to take it all the way off the rim. I may just have to only do the one side. Although, now that I'm in this position, it's usually fairly simple just to get that thing down in the center and peel the tire off. And I may not be able to do it. We'll have to see here. I'll give it a help. Where is that guy? There we go. I got enough go juice in there. It's going to be fairly simple. There we go. Get that rim up out of there. Set it aside. And we can go ahead and find that screw on the inside and figure out where we got to work on it. Huh. That's interesting. Rub my finger in here and I cannot feel that thing. But I know that I heard air when I moved that screw. I could hear air bleeding out, so I know in fact there is a hole there. Just freaking nuts. If I can't find the hole, I won't be able to patch it. but that's why I left the screw in there. I figured it'd be longer than that. I should have pulled that sumbitch out before I did this. I'll go ahead and pull it out now and see if I can poke something through there. Oh yeah, it's a where are we at? Right there. Very, very pointy little guy. So it's just going to be a pinhole on the inside, so got to keep track of it here, and I'm going to have to run a tiny something through there, a piece of wire or something, so I'll be able to find exactly where I want to patch on the inside. Videos I make, I just don't know. If this is worth anything, leave a comment, let me know. I talked to myself. There we go. Yeah, that wire went right on through, real easy. So probably when the it was pushing on it, it was just poking in and out and in and out, in and out and in and out of the rubber. Because this little bitty chunk of MIG wire, which you probably can't see, right here, went straight on through the tire. So anyway, it's easy to find the hole now on the inside, so I know where to work. Maybe I can set this up and put the camera down in there. I'll look down inside there now. Maybe. And you can see that there's that piece of, whoop. It's too far. There we go. I think you can see that piece of MIG wire sticking out there through that rib, and that's where the hole's at. So basically I'm going to have to scuff that rib off a little bit and scuff that area up and then put a patch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm not sure how I'm going to scuff that rib yet, whether I'm going to cut it off with the blade or just wire brush the heck out of it. But I definitely got to get rid of that rib for my patch to seal properly. So I'll do that and then show you what I end up with. Okay, I went ahead and took some of my crayon and marked the inside there. I guess you can see the square. And I put an arrow on the rib that I'm working on, and I'm about not quite centered between these two lines. That right there is the puncture. So basically I just got to clean this area enough to fit my little patch in there. And I've decided on using cutoff wheel. I call it a whizzer, but anyway. Got my tires sitting up on a piece of wood here, so I can on a wooden block, so I can push it down, almost get it inside out, and I can hold that with my chest and better control my cutoff wheel here. And we'll see how I do. I got glasses and ear protection. Go ahead and scuff that off of there. That's getting pretty good. That's nearly flat, and the puncture is right there. So I'll go ahead and clean a little bigger area. It's good and flat. Alright, well what they give you is one of these little guys. Well, focus. There we go. Little, kind of almost like a cheese grater thing. And I noticed the size of these patches actually are a little bit larger than my area that I've cleaned, so I'm going to have to go ahead and take some more of that rib off. Not that rib, but the ribs adjacent. Sure, I have everything around it scratched up pretty good. Okay, and there's the hole right there in the center of all that. So I think I'll be good. And we're on this rib here. So I'll put a drop in the center. That's where the hole's at. Work my way out. Okay. This is okay. The lid back on that. I'm going to use the other end of the tube to what they call spread evenly. Try and keep track of where the hole was. And just for the sake of it, I'm going to go ahead and poke my little wire back through so I'm exactly centered where I want to be. If I can find my little wire. So I got my little tiny piece of MIG wire here. I'm going to go ahead and push it back through the hole. Just so I can be darn sure where I'm working in there. Okay, yeah, that's pretty well centered out in the middle of my area there. So I'll go ahead and get that patch. And they want you to put the foil side down on your puncture and knead it on there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that wire out, make darn sure where I'm at. And we're going right here. So just go ahead and peel the foil off. Keep your dirty fingers off it. Leaving the plastic on the other side. Okay, so here's what you got. I'm going to go ahead and center that right down on my spot, which is right there. Let this tire relax to its natural position, and then go ahead and work it on down. Rub it on there really good. You don't want to stretch that patch too much. You just want to push her right on down there. It'll stretch when you put air in it, but if you stretch it when you glue it down there, it's not going to hang. I learned that as a kid on my bicycles. So you don't want to stretch it. I'm going to go ahead and knead it on down a little bit with the handle of this screwdriver. Okay, so I got that kneaded down pretty good now, so I'm going to go ahead and take that plastic crap out of there. Get a hold of the corner of it and peel it off of there. Next step then is going to be to go ahead and throw this tire back on the rim, and then we'll throw the wheel down on the floor here. And we got to put the front side on first. We had a mark over here that corresponds with a mark on the tire where we want it to be when we end up, so I'm going to get pretty close to that to start with. And then just go ahead and get one side down and over as far as you can get it. Work it around, and you got to kind of pull the tire back up into that groove and work it around up into the groove, and you should be able to get at least halfway, just kind of pushing it with your thumbs, maybe further if you're lucky. I'm going to use my knees over here and then pull the rim towards me, get it seated up in there. Maybe not. Alright, so start with the screwdriver here. Just kind of tweak it and push her on down. Probably going to lose a little paint off the back side of his rims, but I guess that's alright. They were rustier than heck when we started with them in the first place, so they'll be alright. There we go. Now I'm a little over halfway, so I'm just going to keep working it with my fingertips now. Once you're over halfway, it's generally not that big a deal to go ahead and push her on, but we'll see how this works out. There it is. There's one side. And you can see we got our arrow here lined up with our mark on the rim. So I'm going to go ahead and start over here on the back side again. Go ahead and work it on up. One at a time. There we are. Back on the rim. Got our mark lined up pretty good there. Now if I'm lucky, I'll be able to get those beads to seat up well enough to just throw the compressor at it and get it to hook up on those beads and seat itself. One trick to this, to start these when you're like this, is to go ahead and start airing them up without a core. It allows more volume of air to flow. There we go. Got it to hook up on there and sit up on top of the bead, so yeah, we're good to go. We'll throw that core back in there. Okay. And we'll fill it up. See what kind of pressure we got. We got 24. And about 28. I generally run these about 34, give or take. Whoops. I need a new air gauge there, looks like. Try it one more time. Not getting a good seal there. There we go. And we're running about 35, so there we go, 34. And then, just for the sake of it, I'm going to go ahead and make sure my core isn't leaking. Spit works, but a little glow juice there will work. And there's no bubbles. Throw a little bit around the bead, make sure the bead isn't leaking anywhere, because that would suck. Okay, we got a few bubbles coming out right there. That's a bad thing. And I don't want to have to break that. I wonder if I got, see, I could have a little pine needle or something stuck in there. See what happens here when I smack it with a hammer, other than I get wet. that little bit of smacking has fixed that little tiny leak. Make sure I got no bubbles. Yeah, we got no more bubbles coming out of there, so that's good to go. And as he runs it down the road, that'll work things around and it'll seal up even better. Check the back side. Nice even layer of water around. And there are no bubbles coming out of there anywhere. So we're good on the back. And then last thing to check is to find the, actually this is not it, the mark where the hole was, right here. It's where the hole was. And we'll go ahead and put some bubbles there and see if that leaks. And I got that little hole filled up with some soapy water, and there are no bubbles coming out. So that means our patch, at least at this point, is in fact holding air. So here we go, fixed. And when my kid gets done with his family thing and comes back over, we'll throw this back on the front of his car and take his spare off and put it back in the trunk where it belongs, and away he goes. That's flat repair, I don't know, flat repair 101, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching.